Ladies, let me ask you something. Have you ever walked into a room and owned it not because of how you looked, but because of the power you held within? That's the kind of energy I want to talk about today. The kind that doesn't beg for attention, but commands hearts and minds effortlessly. Welcome to the art of controlling not just his mind, but his heart with confidence, clarity, and class. Imagine walking into a room and knowing, not guessing, not hoping that you belong there. That energy. That's knowing your worth. It's not about arrogance or ego, it's about self-respect. When you truly know your value, everything shifts. You stop chasing people, jobs, or validation. Instead, you attract. Why? Because people are drawn to those who radiate self-belief, and nothing is more magnetic than a woman who knows what she brings to the table. It starts with understanding that your value doesn't decrease based on someone's inability to see it. You are not here to prove yourself to anyone. You are not an option. You are the choice. When you own this mindset, you stop accepting crumbs in relationships, friendships, and even in your career. You stop shrinking yourself to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be. You speak up, you set boundaries, and most importantly, you walk away when you're not respected. Knowing your worth means showing up for yourself every day, dressing for yourself, working on your goals, feeding your mind, and protecting your peace. It's a daily act of self-love. It's refusing to let rejection define you or allow fear to make your decisions. The moment you recognize that you're enough as you are, without needing to be more, do more, or give more just to be loved, is the moment you gain true power. This kind of energy doesn't just influence someone's mind, it takes root in their heart. Because the truth is, when you know your worth, you stop trying to control others and start becoming unforgettable. That's not manipulation, that's presence, and presence, darling, is power. Emotional intelligence is the silent strength that sets powerful women apart. It's not about being overly emotional or suppressing your feelings, it's about understanding them, managing them, and using them as a tool for deeper connection. When you can tune in to what someone else is feeling without losing your own center, you've already stepped into a place of quiet influence. Being emotionally intelligent allows you to read between the lines, the pauses in conversations, the change in tone, the subtle cues in body language. You begin to understand that people don't always say what they mean, but they always show how they feel. And that's where your power lies, not in reacting, but in responding with intention. This isn't about manipulation, it's about empathy. It's about listening, not just to respond, but to truly understand. When you connect with someone on that emotional level, especially in a romantic context, you don't just earn their attention, you earn their trust. And trust is the gateway to their heart and mind. More importantly, emotional intelligence means you don't let your emotions control you. You stay grounded during conflict, composed during chaos, and calm when faced with challenges. That kind of emotional maturity is rare, and it makes you unforgettable. It shows that you're not here to play games, you're here to build something real. When a woman masters her emotions, she becomes unshakable. She doesn't beg, chase, or break down to be heard. She speaks with clarity, stands with poise, and commands respect without ever raising her voice. That's how you shift dynamics. That's how you create deep emotional impact. And that's how you rise, not just in love, but in life. There's something irresistible about a woman who doesn't reveal everything all at once, who carries a quiet confidence and a sense of purpose that doesn't depend on anyone else. That's the power of mystery paired with independence. It's not about playing games or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about understanding that when you leave space for curiosity, you leave room for someone to keep discovering you layer by layer. Mystery isn't silence, it's selectiveness. It's choosing what you reveal when you reveal it, and to whom. It's having depth, thoughts, dreams, and passions that don't need to be constantly broadcasted. When you have your own world, your own ambitions, and your own source of happiness, you naturally become more intriguing. You don't chase attention because you're already fulfilled. That energy is captivating. Independence means your happiness isn't tied to whether someone texts you back or compliments you. You have your own rhythm, your own routine, and you don't lose yourself in someone else's life. You're supportive, not needy. You're present, but never predictable. That balance is what keeps someone thinking about you long after you've left the room. When you're independent and mysterious, you become unforgettable because you're not trying to impress, you're simply being yourself. And that kind of authenticity, combined with a sense of self-sufficiency, commands respect. It invites someone to rise to your level rather than pulling you down to theirs. Remember, you don't have to explain every move or share every thought to be loved. The right person won't need access to every corner of your life to feel connected. They'll be drawn to the fact that while they may want all of you, they understand they'll have to earn it. There's a unique kind of power in a woman who knows how to express herself with calm confidence, not chaos. When you speak with class, you don't need to shout to be heard. You don't need to argue to prove a point. Your presence does the talking, and your words carry weight not because they're loud, but because they're intentional. Effective communication isn't just about saying what you feel. It's about knowing how and when to say it. It's choosing clarity over confusion, respect over reaction, and maturity over mess. It means you can disagree without disrespect and express emotion without losing control. That kind of presence doesn't just command attention, it earns admiration. Speaking with class means you never use your words to wound. You don't insult, belittle, or manipulate. Instead, you build bridges, inspire thought, and set boundaries without apology. People may forget what you wore or where you met, but they'll always remember how you made them feel, especially when you spoke truth wrapped in grace. In a relationship, your voice can either deepen connection or drive distance. That's why tone, timing, and intention matter. A well-placed pause, a calm conversation, or a direct but kind truth can shift dynamics more than any dramatic outburst ever could. True elegance in communication is rare. It's when you're assertive without aggression, honest without being harsh, and strong without being intimidating. That's what sets you apart. It makes others lean in when you speak and respect your silence when you don't. Remember, your words reflect your worth, and when you carry yourself with grace even in the heat of conflict, you show that your power lies not in controlling others, but in mastering yourself. That's the kind of voice that stays in someone's mind long after you've left. There's something magnetic about a woman who knows exactly what she wants and isn't afraid to chase it. When you have a purpose and move through life with passion, people notice not because you're seeking attention, but because your energy becomes undeniable. It's not loud or flashy, it's focused. You walk differently, speak differently, and carry yourself with a kind of fire that draws others in without even trying. Purpose gives your life direction, it grounds you. You stop waiting for someone to give your life meaning, you create your own. And that kind of drive is incredibly attractive. It tells the world that you're not just living to exist, you're living to leave a mark. You're building something, becoming something, and evolving every day. That's powerful. Passion, on the other hand, is the fuel. It's what keeps your purpose alive, even when things get hard. It's the spark in your eyes when you talk about your dreams, the glow in your face when you're doing what you love, and the energy in your step when you're chasing growth. It's contagious. It makes people want to be around you not because they complete you, but because they're inspired by you. When you radiate both purpose and passion, you don't need to compete or compare. You're in your own lane, focused on your own journey, and the right people, whether friends, partners, or collaborators, will be drawn to that. They'll respect your hustle, admire your ambition, and fall for the authenticity behind it all. You become more than just someone they're interested in, you become someone they can't forget. Because when you light up from the inside, you don't just catch attention, you leave an impact. And that is where true influence begins. There comes a moment in every woman's life when she realizes that staying silent, staying small, or staying somewhere she isn't valued is no longer an option. That moment is when everything changes, when you respect yourself enough to walk away from a relationship, a situation, or even a conversation. You reclaim your power. It's not easy. Walking away doesn't mean you didn't care. It doesn't mean you didn't try. It means you finally chose You chose peace over chaos, dignity over desperation, and growth over comfort. That kind of decision doesn't come from ego, it comes from self-worth. It's the quiet realization that love should never cost you your self-respect. Staying where you're not respected, appreciated, or understood sends a message to others that it's okay to treat you that way. But when you leave, when you draw that line and say, "This is not enough for me," you raise your standard not just for others, but for yourself. You tell the world that you are not afraid to be alone if it means being true to who you are. It's one of the strongest things you can do to leave with grace, not bitterness, to walk away not with hate, but with a clear heart and a higher head. You don't have to beg to be loved. Real love will never make you feel small, confused, or less than. It will never ask you to shrink. So if you're ever wondering whether it's time to go, ask yourself one thing. Am I honoring myself by staying? If the answer is no, then walking away isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Because the moment you choose yourself, you stop settling. And when you stop settling, you start rising.